Let me ask you something. How many times have you bent over backward trying to make someone love you? How many times have you changed who you are, silenced your needs, or put yourself last just to keep a relationship afloat? We've all been there, and let me tell you, it doesn't work. Ever. The truth is, love doesn't come from chasing, fixing, or proving your worth to someone else. It comes from you, from how you see yourself, treat yourself, and value yourself. If you want the right person to walk into your life, you have to start by loving yourself first. Not in some fluffy cliche way, but in a real practical, no BS kind of way. Today, we're going to talk about what that actually looks like. Because the moment you stop seeking love outside of yourself and start building it from within, something incredible happens. The right people, especially the right partner, start showing up. But it all starts with you. Let's get into it. We've all been taught that love is something we have to chase, that if we try hard enough, say the right things, or become what someone else wants, we'll finally get the love we crave. But here's the truth. Love doesn't work that way. The more you chase, the more it runs. The more you try to force someone to see your worth, the less they actually will. That's because love, the kind that's real and lasting, isn't something you beg for. It's something you attract. And attraction starts with you, not with them. Think about the times you've chased someone, whether it was through constantly texting first, adjusting your personality to fit their needs, or excusing bad behavior just to keep them in your life. Or did it ever feel good? Probably not. It most likely felt exhausting, like you were walking on eggshells, constantly questioning where you stood, analyzing every word, every delay in response, every moment of indifference. That's because when you chase love, you give away your power. You hand over your sense of self-worth to someone else, hoping they'll validate it. But the more you do that, the further you push real love away. True attraction doesn't happen when you're desperate for someone to love you. It happens when you are secure in who you are, whether someone chooses you or not. That's what makes certain people magnetic. Have you ever noticed how the most attractive people aren't always the best looking, but they have an energy about them? They walk into a room and command attention, not because they're chasing it, but because they don't need it. They radiate confidence, self-assurance, and a deep understanding of their own worth. That's what makes them stand out. That's what makes people want to be around them. And that's the energy you create when you stop chasing and start focusing on yourself. When you chase, you send a message, whether you realize it or not, that you're not enough on your own, that you need this person to complete you, to validate you, to make you feel worthy. And when someone senses that, they either lose interest, take you for granted, or string you along without ever truly committing. But when you stand firm in who you are, when you set standards and stick to them, you create an entirely different energy. You become the kind of person who doesn't settle, who isn't afraid to walk away if something doesn't align with their values. And that's powerful. The right person doesn't need to be chased. The right person recognizes your value without you having to prove it. When you're secure in yourself, you naturally attract people who respect and appreciate you. And the ones who don't, they fall away. Not because you weren't good enough, but because they were never meant for you in the first place. That's the beauty of shifting from chasing to attracting. What's not right for you will fade, and what is will find its way to you. So how do you stop chasing? You start by turning inward. You build a life that excites you, independent of whether or not someone else is in it. You focus on your goals, your happiness, your growth. You become so fulfilled within yourself that love becomes a bonus, not a necessity. That doesn't mean you don't want love. It doesn't mean you don't desire connection. But it means you're not willing to lose yourself just to get it. When you stop chasing, you shift the power dynamic. You're no longer operating from a place of lack, where love feels like something you have to earn. Instead, you step into a place of abundance, where love is something that naturally flows into your life because you know you deserve it. And that's when everything changes. The moment you stop proving your worth to others and start living as if you already know it, the right people, the ones who see your value without you having to convince them, will show up. And when they do, you'll realize that real love was never something you had to chase in the first place. Your sense of self-worth is the foundation of every relationship you'll ever have. It's not just about how you see yourself, it's about the standard you set for how others treat you. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you naturally expect more, and you don't settle for less. You don't tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or half-hearted effort because you know you deserve better. But when your self-worth is shaky, you start to accept the bare minimum. You justify bad behavior, make excuses for people who don't show up for you, and lower your standards in the hope that someone will finally choose you. The truth is, people will treat you based on the standard you set for yourself. If you don't value yourself, why would anyone else? It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's also one of the most freeing realizations you can have. When you recognize that you have the power to dictate the way you're treated, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone else to give you the love and respect you crave, and you start giving it to yourself first. Think about it. When you believe deep down that you are worthy of love, respect, and effort, you won't entertain people who don't give you those things. You won't waste your time on someone who only calls when it's convenient for them, or who keeps you guessing about where you stand. You won't tolerate emotional games, mixed signals, or relationships that drain you more than they fulfill you. Instead, you'll walk away from anything that doesn't align with the way you see yourself. And when you do that, you create space for the right people to enter your life. People who see your value, respect your time, and show up for you the way you deserve. Self-worth isn't just about relationships, though. It impacts every area of your life. The jobs you take, the opportunities you pursue, the risks you're willing to go after. All of it is tied to how worthy you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who deserves success, you'll go after it without hesitation. If you see yourself as someone who deserves love, you won't settle for relationships that make you feel small. But if you doubt your worth, you'll keep playing small in every area of your life, accepting whatever comes your way instead of demanding what you truly want. So, how do you build unshakable self-worth? It starts with the way you talk to yourself. Your inner dialogue shapes the way you see yourself, and if that dialogue is full of self-doubt, criticism, and negativity, it's time to change it. Start paying attention to the way you speak to yourself. Would you say those things to someone you love? If not, stop saying them to yourself. Replace the self-doubt with affirmations of confidence and self-respect. Tell yourself daily that you are worthy, that you deserve love, that you are enough exactly as you are. At first, it might feel unnatural, but over time, your brain will start to believe it. Beyond self-talk, self-worth is also built through action. It's not enough to just think you're worthy, you have to prove it to yourself. That means setting boundaries and enforcing them. It means walking away from people who treat you poorly, even when it's hard. It means prioritizing your needs, investing in yourself, and refusing to shrink yourself for the sake of making someone else comfortable. Every time you choose yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are worth choosing. One of the biggest shifts happens when you stop seeking external validation. When your self-worth is dependent on how others see you, you give away all your power. You let their approval or rejection define your value, and that's a dangerous game because people are inconsistent. But when you root your self-worth in something deeper, your character, your values, your growth, you become unshakable. No one can take away what they didn't give you. At the end of the day, your standards will shape your life. If you accept less than you deserve, you'll always feel unfulfilled. But when you raise your standards, when you demand more from yourself and others, you create a life that reflects your true worth. And the best part, when you truly believe in your worth, the right people, opportunities, and experiences will naturally align with you. You won't have to chase or beg for them. You'll simply attract what was meant for you all along. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They are about keeping yourself safe, respected, and valued. They are a reflection of how much you love and honor yourself. Without boundaries, you leave yourself open to being mistreated, drained, and taken advantage of. You end up saying yes when you want to say no, tolerating behaviors that make you uncomfortable, and sacrificing your own well-being just to please others. But when you set strong boundaries, you create a standard for how you expect to be treated, and the right people will rise to meet it while the wrong ones will naturally fall away. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear rejection. They worry that if they say no, speak up, or enforce their limits, they will push people away. But here's the reality. The only people who get upset about your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any. Healthy, supportive people will respect your limits, while those who want to control or manipulate you will make you feel guilty for setting them. That's why boundaries are one of the most powerful tools for self-respect. They allow you to filter out relationships that are not truly serving you and create space for the ones that do. Setting boundaries starts with understanding your own needs. What makes you feel uncomfortable? What drains your energy? What behaviors do you struggle to tolerate? Many people don't set boundaries simply because they haven't taken the time to define them. They accept treatment that doesn't sit right with them, thinking it's normal or something they have to put up with. But when you get clear on your values and what you will and won't accept, it becomes much easier to communicate those boundaries and stick to them. Enforcing boundaries is where many people struggle. It's one thing to know what you don't want. It's another to actually speak up when someone crosses the line. But this is where self-respect comes into play. When you let things slide, when you allow people to walk over your boundaries without consequence, you teach them that your limits don't really matter. And once that happens, it becomes even harder to regain control. Boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to enforce them. Many people think setting boundaries will make them seem selfish or cold, but the opposite is true. When you have strong boundaries, you show up as your best self in relationships. You are not harboring resentment, feeling used, or overextending yourself just to please others. Instead, you are giving from a place of genuine care and balance rather than obligation. Healthy boundaries create healthier relationships because they allow both people to feel safe, respected, and valued. One of the hardest things about boundaries is dealing with the discomfort that comes with enforcing them. When you start saying no more often, when you stop tolerating certain behaviors, when you make it clear what you expect, some people will resist. They may try to guilt you, test your limits, or even pull away entirely. This can be painful, especially if you are used to being a people pleaser or if you fear losing relationships. But the truth is, any relationship that cannot survive your boundaries was never truly healthy to begin with. Over time, the more you enforce your boundaries, the more natural it becomes. You start to see the benefits in your life: less stress, more fulfilling relationships, and a stronger sense of self-worth. You begin to attract people who respect and appreciate you, rather than those who take advantage of your kindness. You start to feel empowered rather than exhausted. And most importantly, you start to trust yourself more. You realize that you are capable of protecting your energy, standing up for yourself, and creating the kind of life and relationships you truly deserve. Boundaries are a form of self-love. They are not about controlling others. They are about honoring yourself. When you respect your own needs and limits, you teach others to do the same. You stop settling, you stop bending over backward for people who wouldn't do the same for you. And you start living in alignment with your own worth. And that is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. It's not about looking perfect or having all the answers. It's about how you carry yourself, how you see yourself, and how you show up in the world. Confidence isn't just something you're born with. It's something you build. And when you have it, people can feel it. They are drawn to it, not because of how you look or what you have, but because of the energy you bring into every room you enter. At its core, confidence comes from self-acceptance. It's about embracing who you are, flaws and all, and refusing to shrink yourself for anyone. So many people struggle with confidence because they focus on what they lack rather than what they have. They compare themselves to others, pick apart their insecurities, and convince themselves that they aren't good enough. But true confidence isn't about being the best at everything. It's about being comfortable with who you are and not seeking approval to validate your worth. One of the biggest myths about confidence is that it comes from external success. People think that once they get the right job, the perfect relationship, or the ideal body, they'll suddenly feel confident. But confidence isn't a result of achievement. It's a mindset. That's why there are people who have everything on paper and still feel insecure, while others who don't fit society's idea of success radiate confidence effortlessly. The difference is in how they see themselves. Confidence comes from within, not from external validation. Building confidence starts with how you talk to yourself. If your inner voice is constantly critical, doubting, and negative, it's impossible to feel confident. The way you speak to yourself matters. If you keep telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never be loved, that you'll never succeed, then that's what you will believe. Confidence grows when you challenge those thoughts, when you replace self-doubt with self-affirmation, and when you start treating yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would give to a friend. Another key to confidence is action. You can't just think your way into being confident. You have to prove to yourself that you are capable. That means stepping outside your comfort zone, taking risks, and doing things that scare you. Every time you face a fear, every time you push through discomfort, you build trust in yourself. Confidence isn't about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. The more you take action despite fear, the stronger your confidence becomes. Confidence also comes from how you carry yourself. Your body language, the way you speak, the way you present yourself all send a message not just to others, but to yourself. When you slouch, avoid eye contact, or speak hesitantly, you reinforce insecurity. But when you stand tall, make eye contact, and speak with certainty, you start to feel more confident, even if you weren't at first. How you carry yourself influences how you feel, and changing your posture and presence can shift your mindset in powerful ways. Another thing that makes confidence so magnetic is that it allows you to stop seeking validation. When you are truly confident, you don't need others to approve of you because you already approve of yourself. You don't have to change who you are to fit someone else's expectations. You don't have to constantly prove your worth because you know your value. This kind of self-assurance is rare, and that's why it's so attractive. People are drawn to those who know who they are and don't need external validation to feel good about themselves. Confidence also changes the way you handle rejection and failure. Instead of seeing them as personal attacks, you see them as part of the process. You understand that rejection doesn't define your worth. It just means that something wasn't the right fit. Confident people don't let failure break them because they know that failing doesn't mean they're a failure. They pick themselves up, learn from the experience, and move forward stronger than before. Confidence is about believing in yourself. It's about knowing that you are enough just as you are and that you don't have to prove it to anyone. It's about owning your strengths, accepting your flaws, and showing up fully in your life without fear of judgment. And when you do that, you don't just attract better relationships, opportunities, and experiences, you also start to feel truly at peace with yourself. Healing before dating is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. When you carry unresolved wounds into a relationship, they don't just disappear. They show up in your thoughts, your reactions, your insecurities, and your expectations. Many people think that love will fix their pain, that finding the right person will make the past hurt less or fill the emptiness they feel inside. But love doesn't heal wounds. It only magnifies them. If you are still struggling with unprocessed pain, self-doubt, or trust issues, those things will follow you into any relationship you enter. Healing is about taking responsibility for your emotional well-being before expecting someone else to handle it. It means recognizing the patterns that have hurt you in the past and actively working to break them. If you've been in toxic relationships before, healing means understanding why you tolerated them, what lessons you need to learn, and how to prevent yourself from repeating the same cycle. If you've been deeply hurt, healing means working through that pain so it doesn't define the way you see love, trust, or yourself. Too often, people rush into new relationships hoping that a fresh start will erase the past, but all it does is create a temporary distraction from the real work they need to do. One of the biggest signs that healing is necessary is when relationships become a way to escape loneliness. If being alone makes you anxious or uncomfortable, if you constantly need attention or validation from others to feel good about yourself, that's a sign that there's inner work to be done. True healing happens when you learn to enjoy your own company. when you feel whole on your own rather than looking for someone else to complete you. A healthy relationship is built on two people who are already complete within themselves, not on one person trying to fill the void in another. Healing also involves understanding your emotional triggers. If small things make you overreact, if you find yourself becoming defensive, jealous, or fearful without clear reason, those reactions are coming from past wounds. Maybe someone betrayed you, and now you struggle to trust. Maybe you were abandoned, and now you cling too tightly. Maybe you never felt good enough, and now you seek constant reassurance. Whatever the case may be, healing means working through these issues on your own so that they don't control you in a relationship. When you haven't healed, you project old pain onto new people, and that creates unnecessary problems. Another important part of healing is learning how to set and enforce boundaries. Many people who haven't healed find themselves in relationships where they are disrespected, used, or taken for granted. They don't speak up when they should, or they tolerate behavior they shouldn't, because deep down, they fear losing love. Healing means recognizing your worth and knowing that you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. It means setting standards and not being afraid to walk away from anyone who doesn't meet them. The healing process isn't always easy, but it's necessary if you want to attract a healthy, fulfilling relationship. It might involve therapy, self-reflection, journaling, or simply taking time to be alone and figure out who you are without the influence of a relationship. It means forgiving yourself for past mistakes, letting go of resentment, and learning how to love yourself in a way that doesn't depend on someone else's presence. Healing allows you to enter a relationship as your best self, rather than as someone looking for love to fix them. One of the greatest benefits of healing before dating is that it changes the kind of people you attract. When you are wounded, you may unknowingly attract people who take advantage of those wounds, people who feed off insecurity, who manipulate, who bring chaos instead of peace. But when you've healed, you attract people who are also whole,